far as my goals, honestly, I can't remember. I don't think I had no goals. I was a kid, so it's like, hey, you just living life. But as far as my childhood, man, everything was good, man. I can't say anything was bad about my childhood. You know, great mother, great father, man, hardworking people. Tried everything they could to, you know, and I ain't say tried, they did. They did the best that they could, you know. So I attended Baker High School, and I did graduate from high school by the grace of summer school, because I went to summer school like every summer. And if it wasn't for my mother, if it wasn't for having parents, period, to guide my decision during that time, during my 11th grade year, I would have dropped out, because that was my decision, but they were there to steer me in the right direction. Man, I started smoking weed first, and that was in, I would say 8th, 9th grade, maybe, somewhere around there. And it became more of a habit, if you want to say, around the time, maybe when I was 10th grade, about my 10th grade. Man, look, I went to college for like a semester, bro. I partied, you know. I went down there and you know what? A lot of times we don't prepare our kids for being on their own. I got involved in making money down there, selling drugs and, you know, just partying, women, you know, the nine. I was introduced to cocaine in maybe 2003, maybe. That's what took me overboard. I was introduced to cocaine because I got involved with selling drugs, and some of the guys that I was around who sold drugs, they pretty much were snorting cocaine. And of course, you know, hey, you become you just pretty much take on to what's around you, you know what I'm saying? And so pretty much being that I surrounded myself by this every day, inevitably, you know, hey, I went on to try cocaine, and that I stayed on it for about 3 or 4 years until, you know, hey, I landed in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison due to a charge, and you know, it went on from there. I see jail as intervention. You know, it's like you were on the path, something bad was about to happen, maybe something bad did happen, but jail kind of prevented things from getting worse. Drugs affected my life horribly. Early on, you know, drugs, usually for a lot of people, drugs actually help you to deal with life. They do. A lot of people don't start drugs to deal with life, some people do. But a lot of people learn that these drugs, if you want to say, kind of help me to feel better when I'm sad. When I'm happy, they help me to feel happier. They help me feel sufficient in areas that I feel insufficient in. And so as a human being, you know what I'm saying, I became dependent on these drugs for my daily living. It kind of handicapped me because really it stops working at some point. You start to experience other issues in your life because of this drug, but you can't stop it. It's not working like it used to. You're getting in trouble, yada, yada, yada. You can't keep money. But now you can't quit because you want to quit because you realize that it's affecting your life in a negative way, but you can't quit, you know what I'm saying, because you're addicted. It affected my life once again, man, just my relationship with my parents. They pretty much got to the point they wanted nothing to do with me. I ain't gonna say nothing to do with me because, you know, your parents don't always love you, but they had to show some tough love, you know what I'm saying, to just say, hey, look, there's nothing we can do for you at this point. Started stealing from my own family, stealing from other people, doing whatever I felt I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to maintain my life. I became suicidal, homicidal and suicidal. You know, I've done my own share of violence in my life, and to the point that I really wanted to take my own life because of the things that I've been through, the things that I was doing to myself. You know, I didn't care, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and because of the mentality that I took on and the people I was around, bro, it's like I really didn't care about life. I didn't value it that much, you know? And so even though I feel like I had reasons to value it, drugs diminished that. I work in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. I'm contracted through the state. And so I'm pretty much there to give back to what gave to me. And when I say what gave to me, I'm not talking about the jail or the prison, but the people that God put in that place, or the places that I've been through to help me, you know what I'm saying? And now I can be a person on that side of that fence today to say, hey man, look, there is hope. Hey, look, you can do this. Hey, look, you don't have to continue to live this way. You know, whatever it is, whatever we can do to guide people on a day-to-day basis and show people how to stay sober and how to live their best life. So I'm grateful for it, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, life is good. Didn't realize I needed help. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in my addiction, I knew I needed help. You know, like me and my partner, we used to sit there, we'll be snorting cocaine together and say, hey bro, look, we're gonna stop this tomorrow. We're gonna stop, you know? And somebody hit one of us, hey, look, you wanna go half on the bag, man? It's like, Yeah, cool. You know what I'm saying? And so we been knew it was an issue. We knew it was a problem. Like I said, it just took that intervention, man. And jail was the only really thing that kind of intervened and stopped everything, paused it for a minute, and then get me to that next place, which was drug rehabilitation. I put it like this, today I learned how to feed people with a long handle spoon, and so we still cool. Everything is good, but we don't live the same life. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying they all living bad, but for the most part, most of them may not be on the actual path that I'm on. And so I can't continue to hang around you knowing that what you do, I'm attracted to, and it's a temptation for me, so I have to go a different way. We live two separate lives, man, and it's understood. It's still all love, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you just have to live your life, and people will, see that light in you and be like, man, I want what you have, you know what I'm saying? And pretty much that's been my experience. A lot of my partners, they would call me, you know what I'm saying, and say, hey, man, look, I'm struggling with this, or I'm going through this, man, look, pray with me, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never tried to pressure them. Every blue moon, I call them, try to invite them to something positive or whatever. They come, they don't come. It's all good. I ain't gonna put no pressure, but I'm gonna just continue to live my life and just believe, and pray that, one day, hey, they'll come around in their own way. You're gonna be exposed to some of the same things I was exposed to and more. Honestly, you've been exposed to way more, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have mojo, you know what I'm saying? Heroin and opiates wasn't big when I was, a teenager, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't exposed to none of that. And so there's a lot that the youth now are up against, and everybody has to make their own decision. But I can tell you, if you do this, this is what may happen to you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta worry about jump out boys. You know what I'm saying? You gotta worry about jack boys. But if you work an honest job, you don't have to worry about none of that. Honestly, I'm as weak as the day that I came into recovery. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more vulnerable than ever. The longer I stay sober, I feel like the more vulnerable I am. You know what I'm saying? I have to fight even harder today to say, hey, look, I know I'm an addict. I know I'm this. I know I'm that. And I got to do everything and continue to do everything that I started doing, that I did in my early days. I have a daughter, man. She's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my life. I don't want to cry right now, but, that I'm grateful that my daughter came at a point in my life when I was ready, because I can't imagine having my child at the point when I was still on drugs, still doing all this, and it would have affected her life, man, because honestly, let's keep it real, a lot of kids are born into circumstances that they didn't ask for, you know what I'm saying? And it's nobody's fault, because a lot of times parents have kids when they're not ready and they're still immature, and you're forced with the task to be mature now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still irresponsible, but I have to be responsible now, and you're learning, and as a result of learning, you're gonna make mistakes, but I don't realize that this child is being affected by this. And so I'm glad and grateful, you know what I'm saying, that I'm at a stable point in my life to be a father.